Well, hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Secrets of Their Fitness Business Success podcast with NPE. Today we've got a very special dynamic duo, Sean and Amy Cornish here, who I'll let them introduce themselves in a moment, but absolutely thrilled that you guys are here and can't wait to go through this live interview with you.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Really,
It's an absolute pleasure.
To be here. It feels a bit weird when you say secrets of success. There's still a lot of hard work to
There
go
is.
yet. But,
Well, that's a great point, and we're going to dive into that, because one of the things is with business owners is that we often don't recognize just how successful we have been, or we don't even really rate that success because there's so much more to do. So we'll dive into all of that as we go through today. But before we get there, why don't you share more about your business model, the name, the location, and the type of clients that you love serving?
Yeah, cool. Amy just for
Handball,
for everyone that isn't watching, Amy just looked straight at me then. So thank you, Amy. I said that you have to do the bulk of the talking today. No, Sean and Amy Cornish, we've been together for about 10 years now as a couple, and have worked together pretty much for that entire time. And Amy has a background in professional dance prior to meeting me, and I whisked her away from the stage and got her backstage working with some really amazing people and achieving some pretty cool stuff. And in that process, we put me through uni as well. So I'm also a dietitian along with the PT side. So our real specialty really looks at that female sort of early 30s, 40s and 50s, that pre and postnatal space, empowering women. We're both a bit of feminists because we've got a couple of little girls. So really sort of talking about empowering women and typically the model which we've gone on and hadn't really recognised until working with NPE was that in working with these ladies and achieving what we do, I then end up training their husbands and or partners. So that sort of was the mode of operation for a little while. And with your help, we've sort of put a bit of a program and process around that, which has been great.
I love it. Anything you wanted to add to that, Amy?
I guess going back into our business is called Your Fit, and we are based in Brisbane. So we are also parents of two very young girls, and so life is very, very hectic. So working together with the hats on as parents as well as business owners, and we run everything currently out of our home. It's very, very busy, and so to actually reach out and get some help has been such a wonderful thing, because we've never had anyone to bounce off, because it's just been Sean and I. We have made it all up as we've gone along. We have no history in business at all. And so to actually have some help where it's measurable, we've actually realized how much our business has grown over the last couple of months. And we're only a couple of months in now, 3 months. 3 months in.
Still a little reluctant to it's just doesn't quite feel real almost, So.
Well, it's going to be great to unpack that, because a lot of people were, are experiencing the same or want to experience that with their business and haven't ever cracked it. They're still in that struggle mode. So let's talk about, prior to coming on board with us, just 3 months ago. COVID has obviously had a big impact, not probably as much in Queensland as say it has in Victoria, who are still in lockdown, but it still made a big impact. What was the business looking like back then? What sort of clients numbers were you working with, business numbers, and how were you guys going at that stage?
I guess first up, we probably were of the mentality of more. So just take it all on. It's time for money. Let's just take on as many sessions. Sean was starting at 4:45 in the morning. We'd have a tiny little bit of time off in the middle of the day where you just try to struggle getting all of the on the business stuff done, and then working until 8:45, 9 o'clock at night. And so it was just long days, and we'd get to the end of the week and be absolutely wrecked. And I guess this COVID experience has really made us find some balance and shown us where we need to pull back. And
I think early in the COVID like I moved up here to Queensland from Victoria originally, and then sort of met AIM shortly after that. And one of the things that I've always relied on, and one of the great things about the PT gig is that you can always work, you know, and you know, I'll back myself and our work ethic. But then when that was taken away, it's like, whoa, hang on, there's a bit of, you know, an identity crisis almost in that moment. Thanks, Scott Morrison. And so with that taken away, you figure out what is actually really important, and all the drivers of the work ethic, you know, wanted to be a really good partner and really good dad. Well, suddenly now you actually get to spend time with the people that you wanted to be serving in the first place, right? And I love what we do. I'm very passionate about what we do. We mentioned our name's Your Fit, and I'm very proud of the improvements we've made and the things we do for our clients' lives. And, you know, you tell yourself that that's your job. You know, you don't really matter. You remove yourself from the limelight. It's all about the client, right? And so when Scott Morrison says, no, you can't operate tomorrow, and you have that moment at the bottom of your stomach and you're like, well, I can't work, but hang on, there's a community that we need to serve here. There's actually, if I'm feeling like this,
everyone's freaking out.
There are 100 people that I serve every week that feel like this. So get off your bum and do that. And so Amy, to being the amazing woman that she is, started a virtual studio the next morning and work out every day at 6 p.m. So we'd have dinner together, 5 till 6. And then when everyone else was getting bad news from the news, Amy would put on a show for all of our guys, and we opened that up, and it was just unreal to see the interaction and how well people responded. And
it was a free service as well, because it was one of those things where we knew that everyone, particularly the mental health of people, all their gyms have been taken away.
Right.
All of their outlet, apart from going for a walk, has been taken away. So what can we do to give everyone something?
And where we are in Nunda is pretty close to the airport in Brisbane, and so we've a lot of people in aviation are our clientele, and you know, there was this moment where it was just like, these people have been with us. Some of them have been with us for between 5 and 7 years. You know, we've been doing this for a while. Who am I to say, just because you're not paying me, I'm not going to help you out for the next 3 or 4 months? Like, we didn't know how long it was going to be, if it was going to be 6, 12, who knew? But I wasn't going to, you know, we weren't going to abandon ship just because the dollars weren't coming in. We were going to figure out a way, and then just sort of led with our feet, you know, and just tried as hard as we could. And it's been a narrative that's changed very quickly in Australia. We're very fortunate to be here, and I'm just mindful to not be too over the top with that, because it all changes so quickly. But we're very grateful and very appreciative of the community that we're privileged enough to serve.
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because there's lots of people in the industry who, you know, COVID hit, they didn't pivot like you guys, and they just went, oh, well, it's too hard. I'm just have to shut up the shop. There's nothing else I can do. And then they lost that connection with the community because they stopped serving those people. Which is amazing that you were able to do that. I guess at some stage it gets to a point where you actually need to start making money again as well, and hence why I remember our early conversations, you know, there was a healthy level of, well, not say skepticism, but there was some concerns about you guys making the investment in yourselves and as business owners that we talked about. What's it like now? I mean, I know you've only been with NPE for the last 3 months, and obviously things have opened back up again from a COVID-19 type situation. But tell me more about where the business is at now. What does your sort of lifestyle look, knowing that it's as busy as it can be with 2 young girls?
Yeah. So, yes, I was skeptic. You know, this space with the business coaching space and just this whole, you know, you look for the right advice, and yes, it's probably the right advice, but it might not be for the right time. And I don't want to put any other names, but you guys do have a lot of competitors. So I was just really mindful, and I was also pretty keen. I was actually weighing up whether I'd do an MBA instead of this. And so looking at that and weighing up the pros and cons, and I just felt as though, you know, the opportunity that we had through COVID happened for us, not to us. You know, we really felt very grateful for the learning that came from that. And if this was going to be specific advice, specific to a fitness business, then you've helped people that are in our situation before. And yes, the investment is considerable. And you know, for a guy that was starting at 5:45 and finishing at 9, like I was thinking, you know, I'm taking this money away from my kids. Like this is, but we have been able to justify it. And you know, when I thought if I punt all this away, well, I can say to the girls, at least we tried. You know, there was no sort of other reason other than we were trying to do our best. We weren't wasting it on gambling and smoking and all the other lovely things. We were trying to be the best we possibly could be. And while we haven't perhaps made that much money back already, we put in place some foundations where we can start to be the people that we want to be for our daughters and want to be for each other too. We don't want to keep throwing ourselves under the bus at the jeopardy of our relationship either. So yes, it's been a really positive thing thus far. I'm just reluctant of painting ourselves as this amazing success story because I'm still I can't really believe it, to be honest. It's a bit bizarre just how much it's grown in such a short period of time. So.
Well, we'll talk about that in a sec because I do want to talk about, you know, client numbers and what has happened as you've evolved the model in lots of ways. Something you mentioned just a few minutes ago about putting your clients first, and sometimes that can be at the detriment of yourself. And as a parent, obviously we put others ahead of ourselves as well, and that's like a double whammy. Now you've got your immediate family, which is your 2 daughters, but then you've also got this wider family. And sometimes we need to recognize that we need to put our own oxygen mask on first too, right? Because if you're not looking after yourselves and actually living the life you want, which I know was part of our conversation, it wasn't just about making more money for you two, it was about being able to create a better lifestyle. How has that sort of shifted for you guys now that you've got more of the right systems in place? How's that lifestyle changed for you?
Well, I think it's just allowed us to open our eyes in the sense of you don't have to do it all yourselves. Like now that we're starting to put in the systems and processes, we feel more confident bringing people into our team. So we employed another trainer at the beginning of COVID, and it's been wonderful. It's been the best thing that we could do for our business because we now know how to say no. So we're continuing to have those dinners every night as a family. We're not starting before 6 a.m. at our house. We've got someone else running the boot camp style trainings down in the park, which we didn't particularly like getting out of bed for. And so it's just being able to have that sense of choice, I guess.
Well, that's a big one. I know we just talked about this before, but you know, you've now gone from, as you mentioned, 4:45 to 9 o'clock at night, really since the time you guys got together as a couple. But now for the first time, you're able to spend, I think you said it was from 6 to 7 or 5 to 6, where you just set aside that hour to have dinner together with you and your girls.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, 5 to 6. And it's something that's really, I'm very passionate about. It's something I really try and advocate for with all of our families that we work with. You know, you should be spending mealtime together. It's more about that time together than what you eat. Don't stress so much about how many grams of carbohydrates are in your plate. Like, actually just enjoy spending time.
Conversation, yeah.
Connecting. What's the best part of your day? You know, that's what food is. Food's connection, you know. And so it's been this revelation of like, man, and my mind is now going to, if you can draw a few other lines in the sand, and like my eldest, she caught her first fish last Wednesday. We went fishing for the first time. You know, like, yes, big. Oh, here we go. There's a fight in the lounge room. We're trying to do this while the girls are having a little bit of screen time, which I'm a big anti fan of. But it's school holidays while we're doing this, Rick, and we don't have any family up here, so we don't have much help. So we're using ABC Kids very reluctantly as that babysitter. But Gracie's coming to join us, so this could go anywhere.
Need to separate.
Yeah. So, Gracie, this is Rick. Do you want to say hello?
Hi, Gracie. Hi.
Don't work on audio apparently. Yeah. Sorry,
Someone
buddy.
just woke up.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair
Okay, now.
Well, that's significant, isn't it? Because, I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but for you guys to spend that hour as a family, you know, that's massive, isn't it? I can only imagine the impact that that's had on all of you.
It's been wonderful. Yeah, it's that real big quality of life thing that I rabbit on about to everyone else, and then now I've actioned and really very, very grateful.
And I guess also before they head off to school. So we're not even at the school phase now, but I feel like if this keeps going the way that it's going, we're going to be able to both be at presentation nights or singing carnivals, or rather than having to tag team and mum's going to one thing and dad's going to the other, that's how we've had to live our lives so far.
Right.
To actually able to do that when the girls start going to school, that will be wonderful. That's exactly how we pictured our family life. That's what's important.
Yeah. And that's obviously what the business is. Your fit is the vehicle to take you to that lifestyle that you want, as well as, you know, part of that is how passionate you are about, you know, impacting on the health and wealth of others and really making sure that they're living their best lives as well. So, I mean, you talked, Amy, about obviously bringing on the staff member and having the systems now to have the confidence that you can deliver a great service no matter who's doing it. Well, let's talk about the numbers. Where were you client-wise before you started working with NPE, and where are we at now in terms of client numbers?
Yeah, so this is the really interesting part to our, I suppose, and when I talk about growth, I actually mean it in like what matters to us and our like metrics internally. And so the numbers in terms of clients, I think we were at 95 to 105 per week, depending on how many would turn up to group sessions, the boot camps and the groups that we run. And it's sort of in that 115, 120 bracket now. Like, it hasn't grown like bunta gone crazy, but what we've been able to do is really solidify that customer journey. So I'm really all about under promise, over deliver. Like, if I'm going to put my name to something, I want to be proud of it, and I want that person to get the outcome that they're. And so, you know, when I sit in a consultation, this whole sort of back end that we've really gone through in that getting race ready and the way you guys sort of create it, it's built belief in what we're creating for that person. So I can sit there and go, I know if you do this 12 weeks with us, you're actually going to achieve what it is that you want to achieve. It's not a best guess, or I feel like I'm, you know, half selling something, or it's a used car that I don't want anyone to ever find out about. Like, we're genuine, we built pride into it, and it just keeps getting better. It just keeps getting better because we keep learning and we keep improving. And
it is that real confidence thing, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
Because people call up now, and because Sean is so clear on this package style of selling, it's people just say yes. People are the conversations are so real, connected, and people, what we would have been nervous to say, oh, you need to come and spend 3 sessions with us to get results. Say it with confidence now, and people are like, okay.
Yeah.
And we're like, huh? Really?
I think the other thing too is, like, you have to, and this is again about having someone to bounce off and a coach and being in an environment where other people are doing it. I'm okay with someone saying no. Like, and that's a big weird thing, you know, as a people pleaser, to have that, like, just that little milestone in terms of growth. If someone can't do it, like, or they don't see the value in it, or the pre-qualification, the way that you teach it, if they say no, that's actually okay. That's the point of the pre-qualification. And that evolution as a business owner, and as a business owner, not as a practitioner. Like, as a practitioner, I'll always go the extra mile and want to help. But as a business owner, that's a really important thing.
Yeah, we can't help everyone, can we? There's some people for a variety of reasons that we just can't help.
If we can't, like, Amy has 40 hours of recorded free video workouts on the virtual studio that they're welcome to go. You know, so it's not that we don't have those tiers that people can access. It's just that's that sort of next tier.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know you're saying, well, the numbers haven't changed that much, but just to clarify, 95 to 105, now you're at 115 to 120. So it's between 15 and 25 clients you've added in 3 months, that's pretty significant growth, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
A lot of people went, what? He's not happy with that? They're talking about that's awesome. And I know it's not about the metrics, which is the point you're making, but it's fantastic because now, you know, your churn is not as much. Not that it was, retention's always been a strength of yours, but that journey, that client journey is even better. People are feeling like they're even more a part of a community, and you guys have really developed that space. And as you said, Amy, you're getting those people who are inspired to commit, and they now recognize, yes, I need to be doing 3 sessions a week. So that, like you said, with the attendance, Sean, I'm sure your attendance has gone up as well, especially with those new clients that have come in, knowing that this is what they need to do to achieve their goals, and you've got that specific programming for them, which is super exciting. It's and coming back to what you were mentioning as well, Amy, because a lot of us in the industry, let's face it, we don't want to come across as that pushy salesperson, that's sleazy used car type of thing. And I know we were doing some role plays yesterday, Sean, which we do as part of the coaching, which is a lot of fun. But it's something that you've really embraced, and I could see it yesterday, even though we've come up with an even more advanced version. Just you going through it, I can see how you've used the tools to help you to professionally connect and show how much you genuinely care in that sales process, because that's what it is. Has that been what it's been like for you? How is that? Because you do most of the sales, right, Sean, or do you do some of them as well, Amy?
No, I don't.
No, I'm a little reluctant at this point to get involved in that.
We've got time to work on her. That's okay.
Yeah, we do. And also, she doesn't have a lot of time. And I think the way that we've positioned it is that
I do the initial face-to-face.
Amy's very good practitioner, extremely good on the tool, and very limited with her time. You know, Amy does a lot of the hands-on with the kids. So for me, it was more, okay, I'll invest in this sort of front end part. And as the dietitian, so we've sort of evolved our process with myself as a dietitian. I put together a 12-week program that we run corporately that we've now introduced into the studio. And I'm a part of that initial, and then also a part of the nutrition education throughout. And then I'm a part of your review process throughout that time with us. So I do that at the front end, and really delving a lot more. And, you know, it's motivational interviewing, bent with a lot of that CBT and ACT therapy stuff that we've done. And all of your rhetoric is very professional and classy. It's not designed for you to end up working with people you don't want to end up working with, right? There's a good quality people that you want to, and for us, it's mums who have lost their confidence, that really want to be good role models to their kids, and raising a couple of girls in an environment where we can be empowering people like that. That's us. We're happy with that.
Yeah, and it's knowing that you're having that impact, not just on those mums, but then on every relationship those mums have, and every relationship that then occurs from there on as well. And that's often a tricky one as parents, especially mums, tend to put themselves way down the priority list. So that time with you when they are the most important thing, I imagine, is incredibly well spent for them, and they love it.
But then mums also love to chat, as in, if you impress them, if you catch them, they're going to tell 5 of their friends. So it's all word of mouth. And it's just, if they become a raving fan, it's brilliant.
Yeah, I suppose it's
whereas men don't really.
Yeah, we're in that really early phase of that sort of net promoter score, but it's something I'm really passionate about, making sure people are really getting what they want and delivering over and above. The client value and the relationship and the experience that you teach, it's all very consistent with our values, which has been something that's resonated really well.
Yeah, and that's a big part, isn't it? I mean, we talked about this earlier, as you said. There's lots of people who profess to be great business coaches, and they can do all these wonderful things, but it's making sure that you're aligned with the same core values as the coaches and companies that you're working with as well, which is, you know, why it's been a pleasure to work with you guys, because, you know, we're all about that client experience and making it an amazing service for them and genuinely getting results, which is clearly, you know, a significant part of that client experience. So in terms of you guys have got some big goals, I know, and some big growth opportunities right now, especially as you're really nailing these systems. And we haven't even really ramped up the marketing side of things yet. You know, there's a lot more to be done in that area. With your, there's other people who'll be listening and watching to this going, oh, well, geez, good on them. But, you know, I'm struggling. You know, I don't know whether I've got the right model. I'm not able to show the value to people I'm working with, or I can't even generate leads. What advice would you give to them in terms of those who are struggling? And they might already be sort of through the COVID lockdown, but what would your advice be to those who are not where they want to be with their lifestyle and their business?
Would you have anything you'd like to say first? Like me? Okay. Always listen to your wife. Very wise.
That's excellent advice.
And back yourself. You're probably worth a lot more than you actually give yourself credit for. This is a tough gig, the fitness gig. You know, we've got a lot of war stories, all of us, and it's tough on that gym floor, and it's pretty, you know, if you can get through this and you're sort of still kicking at the end of this COVID stuff, you're doing something right. And so, and look, I first spoke to Aaron on 11 p.m. on Valentine's Day earlier this year. I waited up to speak to her to find out what this was all about. And then, you know, the world stopped and it all changed. And you know, 4 or 5 months later, we decided to jump on board and give it a try. And the learning, and, you know, in terms of our customer journey, I always say to people, you don't really know the person you are the other side of the action. You just know the next action, right? And so if people have listened to this far, they probably know the right thing to do. And at worst, you know, you waste half an hour of your time talking to someone about a process that may or may not help you. It's definitely been the right thing for us at the right time. And despite being as skeptical as I was and as apprehensive as I was, we're very grateful for the learning thus far, and excited about where it's going to go, so that we can eventually be, you know, I can eventually be the dad that I'd really love to be and spend a bit more time with these two little ones. So.
Well, it's exciting, isn't it, to have, because a lot of people don't have that light at the end of the tunnel either. There's just tunnel just seems to go on forever because it's sort of Groundhog Day. I'm just grinding away here, and you guys have started the steps down the path of a better quality lifestyle, and you're putting yourselves and your family first without, and we talked about this just quickly before we started recording, but it's not at the expense of your clients. They're still getting a great service. No one's complained. They're thrilled for you as much as you are for yourselves and the family. And I think that's why we love doing what we do, because we get to see these growth opportunities and just the bigger impact that you can make. So I know we talked about you changing the model as well, because you had the physical premise prior to COVID, and now we've moved more so for that sort of online model as well. Where do you see yourself in a couple of years from now, Amy? If we were knowing what you've achieved in this short space of time, where do you see yourself in the business in a couple of years?
I mean, we'll always be involved. We love our work so much that I can't not imagine being a personal trainer, helping people. But I guess our business will be at a growth point that we can step out when we want to step out. So it might be a few hours a day that we've chosen to work, rather than us having to do the heavy grind of the work. But then also, I would like to be able to have the time that we can put into more online stuff, or just even more projects. Like we just don't have the time right now, the capacity. But once it's gone to a level where we can step away and it runs itself, and we will have some more time to work on other projects that we don't even know are in the woodworks yet. Who knows what 5 years looks like?
Well, it is exciting, isn't it? And as we've talked about, not only are you helping those in your community and the wider community now with the online service delivery, but also your staff members, you know, them getting an opportunity to work when there's a lot of people getting let go in this industry too, and knowing that you can grow based on the systems you've implemented. I mean, that's exciting too.
Yeah, really exciting. Yeah, the quality of Matt's been unbelievable. The first hire that we've made, and we're really grateful for his help. And I think that's the part that I'm really I suppose I'm excited to learn and get your help doing, because you've done it all before, right? So.
Well, and made a ton of mistakes as well. So it wasn't until I got the NPE systems that I actually got that right too. So I certainly can't claim that myself. But it's so exciting. I mean, I can't wait to see what you guys are going to achieve. You've certainly done a lot in this last 3 months, and all that hard work and effort and blood, sweat and tears that you've put in over the last 10 years, is really starting to pay off for you guys. And I know you're super busy. I really appreciate you jumping on the call today. And I know you've got the kids who have been amazing. I can't believe that Gracie's been super quiet. What a superstar. Where do I get one of those from? I'll swap. But look, thanks so much for coming onto the call, Amy and Sean. It's an absolute pleasure, and I can't wait to see what you're going to achieve, not just in the next 3 months, but next sort of 12 months as well. It's going to be an amazing ride.
Thanks for all the
help.
help.
You very much.
Really appreciate it.
Hey, absolute pleasure. Well, you take care, and we'll speak to you again very soon.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
Cheers.